It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning and welcome to Wendy Travel and Cruise Industry News Podcast. On this, the 11th day of September 2024, coming to you from Bedford County, Virginia. A little cool this morning, not as cold as it's been the last couple of nights, but it was like 51 when I got up today. So I got long pants instead of my normal house attire, which is shorts. But yeah, it was a little cold in the cave today. Got a pretty busy show today, folks. Of course, today's show is brought to you by Chillie Cruises and Will U.S., the owner of Scoot Around. The main story today, of course, deals with Hurricane Francine as it roars toward the Louisiana coast. A child dies after a fall on Harmony. Carnival addresses the dress code. Popular Carnival cruise director Lee Mason is promoted. Influencer filming in public places. Also today, a passenger chases down a cruise ship. Richard Branson officiates at weddings, and a $100,000 casino scam, and lots more here live at 11 o'clock this morning. Today, folks, is a serious day, and because of that, I promised that I was going to catch up with Hot Air Tom's filming and some of the other shots that I've got from several folks. But today, in light of the seriousness of the day, I thought, yeah, let's keep it pretty much straightforward today, and we'll have fun tomorrow. But today is Patriot Day and National Day of Service and Remembrance. Patriot Day on September 11th honors the memory of the nearly 3,000 innocent victims who died on September 11th, 2001 terrorist attacks. Each year, Americans dedicate this day to remembering those who died and the first responders who risked their lives to save others on that day. For all those that were lost that day, rest in peace, my friends. You have meant so much to so many of us. Thank you for your service, and have a long, happy rest. If you're listening via the podcast, you can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the Fat Travel Guy. Also, if you're listening via the podcast and ever want to jump over to the video feed, all you have to do is go to there's a link in the description of your podcast, so you can just click and go to the video feed, and that'll take you right to it. But if you're searching for me at Travel and Cruise Industry News, that's all you got to search for. All the big guys have us tune in: Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, Pandora, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and I'm going to show up. All right. I tell you what, we're going to start off, of course, with now Hurricane Francine. But before we get into that, let's take a quick break from one of our fine network sponsors. All right, let's get on with the news. The Port of New Orleans will be closed today as the port prepares for Hurricane Francine that is expected to make landfall this afternoon or tonight. Hurricane Francine currently has maximum sustained winds of 90 miles per hour after strengthening over the Gulf of Mexico, and is expected to reach Category 2 before landfall. The port says that they hope to reopen on Thursday following damage assessments. On the port's NOLA website, they said that operations may resume at noon, weather and terminal conditions permitting. There is one ship that is scheduled to return to New Orleans on Thursday, Carnival Valor is currently sailing a 5-night cruise with port stops in Cozumel and Progreso, while the cruise ends on Thursday. Life-threatening storm surge and hurricane force winds to begin in Louisiana today. Hurricane Francine moving northeastward toward the Louisiana Gulf Coast. And here is what she's going to look like in the days ahead. Currently, Francine is located about 250 miles east-northeast of the mouth of the Rio Grande, and about 200 miles southwest of Morgan City, Louisiana. Maximum sustained winds are 90 miles per hour. She's moving to the northeast at 10 miles an hour. The pressure is 977 and dropping. Summary of major warnings. Storm surge warning is in effect for Cameron, Louisiana to the Mississippi-Alabama border, including Vermilion Bay, Lake Maripa, and Lake Pontchartrain. A hurricane warning is in effect for the Louisiana coast from Vermilion Cameron line eastward to Grand Isle. Tropical storm warning is in effect for Louisiana coast east of Sabine Pass to Vermilion Cameron line, east of Grand Isle, Louisiana to the Alabama-Florida border, and Lake Maripa and Lake Pontchartrain, including metropolitan New Orleans. A faster northeastward motion is expected today, and Francine is anticipated to make landfall in Louisiana within the warning area this afternoon or evening. After landfall, the center is expected to move northward across Mississippi on Thursday and Thursday night. Maximum sustained winds now are at 90 miles an hour with higher gusts. Some strengthening is expected this morning. Branson is expected to weaken quickly after it moves inland. Hurricane force winds extend outward about 40 miles from the center. Tropical storm force winds extend about 115 miles from the center. Hurricane conditions are expected within the hurricane warning area this afternoon, with tropical storm conditions arriving in the warning area this morning. Hurricane conditions are possible in the hurricane watch area this afternoon and tonight. Tropical storm conditions are expected in the warning area along the coast of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama today and tonight. Francine is expected to bring a storm total of 4 to 8 inches of rain, with local amounts up to 12 inches across southeastern Louisiana, Mississippi, far southern Alabama, and the Florida Panhandle through Thursday night. This rainfall could lead to considerable flash and urban flooding. The combination of the dangerous storm surge and the tide will cause normally dry areas near the coast to be flooded by rising waters. Will be flooded by rising waters moving inland from the shoreline. The water could reach the following heights above ground somewhere in the indicated areas if the peak surge occurs at the time of high tide. Intracoastal City, Louisiana to Port Fourchon, Louisiana, 5 to 10 feet. Vermilion Bay, 5 to 10 feet. Port Fourchon, Louisiana to the mouth of the Mississippi River. Louisiana, mouth of Pearl River to Louisiana to Ocean Springs, Mississippi, and Lake Pontchartrain, all 4 to 6 feet. Ocean City, Mississippi to the Mississippi-Alabama border, 3 to 5 feet. And Cameron, Louisiana to Intercoastal City, Louisiana, 3 to 5 feet. Lake Maripa, 3 to 5 feet. The deepest water will occur along the immediate coast near and to the east of the landfall locations, where the surge will be accompanied by large and dangerous wave action. Surge-related flooding depends on the relative timing of the surge, and it will be accompanied by large and dangerous waves. Surge-related flooding depending on the relative timing of the tidal cycle and can vary greatly over short distances. Storm surge is not expected to pose a threat to the risk reduction system levees. However, there may be some overlapping of local levees. Now, also in the Atlantic, we've got two other systems to take a look at, much as we did yesterday. They're just continuing on with a bit of the same. Central Tropic Atlantic, an elongated area of low pressure located over the Central Tropic Atlantic, continues to produce disorganized shower and thunderstorm activity. Environmental conditions appear conducive for some slight development during the next day or two while the system moves westward at 5 to 10 miles an hour. The disturbance is expected to reach an area of stronger upper level winds on Thursday and likely will likely end its chance of development. Chance of further formation is low at 30% over the next 48 hours and 30% over the next 7 days. Now, to the east of that, east and central tropic Atlantic, a trough of low pressure over the eastern tropical Atlantic is producing a large but disorganized area of showers and thunderstorms from near the Cabo Verde Islands, extending southwestward for several hundred miles. Environmental conditions appear favorable for gradual development of the system, and a tropical depression will likely form during the latter part of the week, and while the system moves west-northwestward at 15 to 18 miles an hour. The chance of formation over the next 48 hours is medium, 40%, but jumps up to 80% over the next 7 days. In the Pacific, offshore of southwestern Mexico, a broad low pressure system is producing a large area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms from the coast of southwestern Mexico, extending offshore for several hundred miles. Environmental conditions appear conducive for some gradual development of the system, and a tropical depression could form later this part of this week, while it moves generally north-northwestward near the coast of southwestern Mexico and towards Baja California Peninsula. Regardless of the development, heavy rainfall is likely across coastal portions of southwestern and west central Mexico during the next couple of days. Formation chances for this system, 40% over the next 48 hours, jumps to 60% over the next 7 days. Clearly a system to watch. A tragic accident occurred aboard Royal Caribbean's Harmony of the Sea over the weekend when a 12-year-old child passed away after falling from one of the upper decks onto the ship's Central Park area. The child was on a cruise to celebrate a family birthday and reportedly fell headfirst from an interior balcony to the ground below. Despite a rapid response from the onboard medical staff, the child succumbed to their injuries in the medical center. Royal Caribbean sent a letter to future passengers informing them of delayed boarding in Galveston as an investigation occurred. The exact cause of the fall remains uncertain. Following the incident, passengers were informed that the terminal would be closed until noon to allow authorities to conduct a safety investigation. Boarding the Harmony of the Seas was delayed, and guests had to check in no later than 3:30 p.m.
Hey cruisers, this is a combination MSC special cruise and a Chillie Cruises solo deal of the day. It's the October 20th sailing of the MSC Seashore, a 5-night cruise out of Port Canaveral. The interior starts at $219 per person, $279 for an ocean view per person, $379 per person for a balcony. That's the Bella Experience for double occupancy. Solo prices start at $315 per person for the Bella Experience for solo. so and go up from there. The ship sails on the 20th. You have an overnight stay at Ocean Key Marine Reserve in the Bahamas, so you can witness that extraordinary light show that they put on at Ocean Key. Wednesday on the 23rd, you go on to Nassau and back to Port Canaveral on the 24th. Give me a call, 434-258-9264, and we'll get hooked up on the MSC Seashore on October 20th.
The story is from Jan Zuzza over at Cruise Fever. Whether it's flip-flops in the main dining room or bathrobes at the buffet, it's not uncommon to spot a cruiser in vacation mode flouting the rules. But there are some dress codes that are based on the ports of call of cruise ships that they're visiting. And there's only one major mistake American cruise passengers often make when visiting the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Camouflage clothing is not permitted in many of these areas. This rule applies when passengers are off the ship, so it has nothing to do with the cruise line. John Hill, Carnival Cruise Line brand ambassador, recently reminded his social media followers of this in a Facebook post. Having just replied to a gentleman his anger about being told to return to the ship in Nassau, I felt it best to remind everybody that there are some places that absolutely do not allow camouflage clothing, military-style camouflage clothing, to be worn there. There are the island rules, and we have absolutely no control over them. The reason for the rule is that these areas of the world that don't want a civilian to be confused as military. Someone wearing camo pants or even a camo bag can be thought of as impersonating a military personnel. There are almost 20 countries in the world that have a ban on civilians wearing camouflage clothing. I wouldn't recommend this, but if you are spotted, you will face either a fine, imprisonment, or both. There have been reports of a $500 fine in some cases, and as a guest on a cruise ship, you've got nothing coming. Popular Carnival Cruise Director Lee Mason is being promoted to Fleet Cruise Director, where he will bring his years of experience, incomparable energy, and bright personality to the next level of leadership for Carnival Cruise Line. Since the departure of Chris Williams from the team in early August, there's been speculation about which of the cruise line's popular and charismatic cruise directors might take his place as a new Fleet Cruise Director. Now, Lee Mason has surprised his more than 65,000 social media followers with the news. It's official. I can finally announce that I will be joining the team of Fleet Cruise Directors, he said, sharing a new short biography for his promotion. It's not uncommon for Carnival Cruise Directors to share their cruise-related news, what ships they will serve on, special itineraries, new events on board, etc., via social media, as they can have tremendous following of fans who have enjoyed sailing with them over the years. Mason has been with Carnival Cruise Line since November of 2016, and in those years has served on a number of ships in the fleet, including Carnival Valor, Carnival Spirit, Carnival Miracle, Carnival Glory, and Mardi Gras. He was the inaugural flagship cruise director when the Carnival Celebration first debuted, and has since become the cruise director's Italian style for Carnival Venezia. During his years with Carnival Cruise Line, Mason has been recognized several times for his spectacular performances and commitment to being the very best cruise director. In 1923, he was chosen Carnival Cruise Line's Cruise Director of the Year, as well as Ambassador of the Year for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, a longtime charitable partner with the cruise line. The date for Lee's change of position has not been announced yet. Over the years, I've sailed Carnival a number of times, but I never had the opportunity to sail with Lee. I was on Carnival Miracle when he was cruise director, but he was off ship that week. So I never got a chance to meet him and be on a cruise with him, but I followed him for years. Fascinating man. With so many influencers filming clips, interviews, demonstrations, and more in all types of public places, it's inevitable that videos will be made on board cruise ships. Not all travelers appreciate such filming, however, and Carnival Cruise Line has addressed the issue and sought feedback from loyal guests. In our era of doorbell cameras, body cams, security cameras, social media, and more, there's very little expectation of privacy in public spaces. John Heel said, "I think the polite thing would be for the person filming to avoid all people when making their videos." Ultimately, every guest on board a Carnival cruise ship, whether they consider themselves an influencer or not, is able to take photos and film in public areas as much as they wish. It is always best to be respectful of others, and there are no rules against such filming. However, no influencers should be deliberately recording others on board the ship unless those passengers have granted them permissions. A little common sense, folks. You don't just film somebody and put them up without their permission. A passenger sailing in Alaska was seen making the mad dash along Sitka's pier as the cruise ship he thought he was cruising on was seen departing without him yesterday. Late for the onboard time, Princess Cruises' 3,080 passenger Crown Princess had pulled away from the pier and was making her way to her next call in Prince Rupert, British Columbia, as she wraps up an 11-night round-trip voyage from San Francisco. Guests aboard another ship, also calling in Sitka that day, witnessed the man sprint down the dock, many recording the scene on their phones. One passenger shared the moment in a now viral video that shows the runner waving frantically as Crown Princess slowly drifts away. "Oh no, he missed his ship," a guest can be heard saying as he recorded his desperate attempt. And just as the crowd and the man assumed he was doomed to be left behind, a person walked out to meet him, pointed back to the ship still in port. It appears the man was actually one of 4,004 passengers sailing on the Norwegian Bliss. No harm, no foul. I got a kick out of that one. All right, so what else do we have here? We got another story here somewhere. Yeah, there we go. Sir Richard Branson, he found ways of getting in the news. He's expanded his role as Virgin Voyages celebrated 3 special couples during its recent celebration sailings. This week-long event featured performances by Boy George, stargazing sessions with Virgin Galactic astronauts, and trivia hosted by Virgin Atlantic airline leaders, marking a milestone for the Virgin fleet. Branson's Virgin Group's founder, officiated the weddings of 3 couples during their voyages, highlighting Virgin Voyages' foray into offering seafaring nuptials. Flying between the Caribbean and Europe, Branson presided over a series of wedding ceremonies, helping kickstart Virgin Voyages' new wedding packages, available to sailors starting in April of 2025. These offerings provide couples with the opportunity to tie the knot or celebrate milestones like engagements or vow renewals aboard the line's award-winning adults-only ships. With locations ranging from the sun-drenched rooftops of Santorini to the tranquil waters of Bimini, Virgin Voyages promises an array of stunning settings for couples seeking a memorable wedding experience at sea. The I Do crew offers 3 tailored wedding packages designed to ease the planning process, ensuring that sailors can enjoy their special day without the stress. Each package is crafted to reflect the relaxed, luxurious style of Virgin Voyages, allowing couples to celebrate against breathtaking backdrops. Pretty cool. Virgin. All right. How about a good casino scam? Carnival Cruise Line is investigating a major casino scam involving 2 casino staff members and passengers that lasted for 3 months, costing the company over $100,000. The scam, which was discovered a few weeks ago aboard the Carnival Glory, has led the company to investigate the number of people, resulting in several terminations. While the 2 staff members were not arrested, it has not been confirmed whether the other fired employees are being held responsible for failing in their supervisory duties. The scam was exposed by a Carnival employee who sent a detailed letter outlining the events. This letter was also shared with the Cruise Law News, which posted it on its Facebook page. According to the letter, 2 experienced casino dealers, along with accomplices, stole more than $100,000 by paying out losing bets, adding money to their own bets using house funds, and failing to collect losing bets from players. The scam, which took place between May and August of this year, involved 2 casino dealers from Peru who had been working together for 2 years. The crew members explained that the pair exploited the ship's tax supervision, targeting roulette and blackjack tables. By manipulating payouts, stealing chips, and falsifying buy-ins, they managed to pocket a large amount of money without raising suspicions for 3 months. The dealers worked closely with a group of Spanish-speaking guests who frequently cruised on the ship. These guests who spoke Spanish mainly played with the Peruvian dealers, making it difficult for the supervisors to detect what was happening at the tables. Despite surveillance cameras being installed at the casino tables, they were only reviewed in the event of disputes, allowing the scam to continue undetected for months. The fraud came to light when a supervisor noticed a blackjack dealer pushing a bet that should have been lost. A closer review by management revealed the larger scam, which had been going on for months. The discovery of the scam led to widespread consequences for the casino team aboard Carnival Glory. According to crew members, several staff members were unfairly punished. The crew's manager, 6 supervisors, and other staff were fired or sent home early, despite their lack of direct involvement in the scam. The mass termination has fueled frustration among the crew, who feel that Carnival's handling of the situation was unjust. The letter also criticized Carnival's management for neglecting the onboard procedures, especially in the aftermath of the COVID pandemic. The crew member pointed out that mass hiring of inexperienced staff had led to insufficient training, where scams like this are likely to happen. The incident has raised serious questions about how such a large-scale scam could go unnoticed for so long, and whether Carnival will take steps to improve oversight and support of its employees. The crew member hopes their message will reach the wider cruise community, ensuring that crew members are vigilant and report concerns immediately. Following the crew members' revelation of the scam, it's clear that cruises will need to reevaluate their policies, professional programs, and recruitment standards, as many are hiring experienced staff. In the past, casino staff were highly trained, and worked in the casino departments was considered a prestigious position. Nowadays, it's more about cutting costs, with little regard for mental health or employee benefits. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up the news portion of today's show. Let's go over in the chat room and see if anybody's giving me a hard time. Before we get started with that, a little sip of Diet Coke. I had a better night last night, but not a good night. I did the old cough, cough, cough thing for a good bit of the night, but not as frequently as hard as it was the night before. I was able to sleep some. The cats did get me up on time this morning, but my energy level is still drastically reduced. I plan maybe to get back in my chair today and take a nap rather than working all afternoon, quite frankly. It was also cold. And so, I was wrapped up in a blanket. That helps me sleep as well. So far today, I've had a couple of little hacks, but not any hard coughing spell. So that's a good sign. I made it through the show. I taped most of the show early. I did the last couple of stories live. But it's this thing is just hanging on and hanging on and hanging on, and I'm getting sick of it, I'll tell you. All right, Katie's with us. Good morning, Katie. Oh, by the way, and my apologies for having to resend the link to the show today. Somehow, when I was taping one of the news stories this morning, I taped it on the live feed. So I had to redo the live feed and put another link up. So my apologies. Total screw up from me. When I screw it up, I admit it. But I'm going to screw up technical things somewhere along the line, at least once a week. At least it's not every day, but it's going to happen. All right. Katie says, hello. Cindy's with us. Good morning, all. Mike's here from the other side of the pond. There's Gretchen out in Ohio. Emily's with us. Sonny's here down in Mississippi. Sonny's going to get wet. Maybe not. You could get wet today. Definitely tomorrow. Now everybody's speaking back and forth. Todd's with us. Good morning, Todd. Hoping the hurricane will make it to Michigan. We are so dry. Gary Old in the Dirt's with us. Well, I'm hoping the hurricane rain does not make it to Virginia because I don't want to have to go out and let water out of the pool. The pool's closed down. It's closed for the winter. But still, when you get when those kind of storms come through here, it can fill up the pool, and then I have to go out there and let water out of the pool, and that's tough to do in my chair when it gets really rainy and muddy and yucky. But I gotta do it. So Gary Older than Dirt's with us, says good morning all. Chillie, thank you and Nate for finding out the information. That was very kind of you and Nate too. What Emily's referring to is she and her friend it's from Switzerland, I think, and lives near Rome, are planning possibly on going on my transatlantic on March 31st on the Epic from New York to Rome. So the first question was, does that apply to the second guest gets a free airfare? And I replied back to that no, it doesn't. That only works from somebody in the States or in Canada. And then when I was talking to Nate about it, he said, well, make sure that they know that we can take care of their air if they want us to. So I sent another message to him and said, look, Nate says we can handle, the flights from, Rome over and for Emily to come from after the cruise from Rome back home. So we're happy to do that. Now, as travel agents, we live on commissions. Well, we make a commission on the cruise. We don't make any commissions from the airlines. So make that, clear up front. We're making no money on it. But a good travel agent, that's what a good travel agent does. He takes care of his clients. And if you need the extra little things, you're going to get them. So just saying, I'm learning from one of the best. Nate's been a travel agent for 20 some years. So, yeah. Hot Air Tom is with us. Good morning, Hot Air Tom. Tom, tomorrow will be a day dedicated to you and your travels, and some other people's too. But I got the most stuff from you. So I will be showing lots of pictures and stuff about you tomorrow. Met Suzanne at the meet and greet meeting. Very good. Okay, just wanted to make sure that you had some contact with her so she doesn't feel, totally alone. Since I was going to make sure she was involved with everything we did. Gretchen says, Todd, I went on a 10-day Caribbean cruise on Enchanted last February. I've been meaning to mention. Yeah, I talked with Gretchen a little about Enchanted. So you're going to like Enchanted. We missed 2 ports, Dominica and Princess Key, due to rough seas. Well, that's not the fault of the ship. That's the fault of the weather. It was you that said you're going this upcoming February, or was somebody else? Yeah, it was him. I hope you have better luck. Emily says, yes, Chillie, we made it through the show without coughing. Yes, thankfully. It didn't occur to me until you said something. Very good, see, Chillie. Thank you very much. My friend lives in Stockholm, Sweden. Okay. Ooh, Chillie, I had not thought about my flight from New York. No, your flight to New York for the NCL deal. Yeah, you'll be over in Rome. So you got to get home. Just like she's got to get over here to get on the boat, you've got to get off the boat and get back on. So there's flights on both sides of that. So anyway, we'll get it all hooked up and put a package together for you. So don't worry. Just let us know when we can get started. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up my show for today. As always, smash that thumbs up button. Not quite as big a crowd as yesterday, but still, X is 8 to 1 over our regular normal crowd. So X folks, welcome aboard as always. We appreciate you. I'm sorry that X will not sync up with StreamYard so we can see your comments. Feel free to make them. I get them, even though the chat room doesn't. And I will post them on so the chat room can see them. So, but always you're welcome here. So, and for the rest of you guys, I'll be back same time, same channel tomorrow. Don't forget the thumbs up. If you have not subscribed, please consider doing so. Yeah, we're starting to get we've been kind of static for a week or so. Now we're starting to move up again. So that's a good thing. So hit that subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything. And the bell notification tells you when I go live or when a new video is posted. And I'm trying to get a couple videos done every day. All right. That's going to wrap me up for today. As always, guys, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising, and hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you Thursday morning.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you'd like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.